The lore of Garthanax. The lore of Garthanax. So, we have Garthanax Prime, only he is not the Prime. He is actually the 7th, I think we said 7th, right? 7th iteration of Garthanax. In fact, Garthanax is a drawing. He is 2-dimensional. However, all of his props are 3-dimensional. We'll explain why and how that works later. Garthanax is a drawing created by Max. Max is a 6-year-old who has just started drawing his first stick figure. Max created Garthanax. However, prior to creating Garthanax, Max created 6 evil Garthanaxes. We call them evil Garthanax because Max didn't like how they turned out, and therefore he scribbled them out. The evil Garthanaxes are referred to as Arthanax, Barthanax, Garthanax, Darthanax, Earthanax, and Parthanax. It is also worth noting that they are functionally immortal so long as Max continues to draw. Anything that Max scribbles out immediately joins the dark side. Stat block, because we have that. He has an AC of 20. Because of the fact that he can go 2D side dimensional, it's very hard to hit him. We thought this through. We're not done. He also has a health of 1 because he's a drawing. It makes perfect sense. Don't argue with me here. 2D drawings in a weird 3D world. Fuck you. He is resistant to piercing, bludgeoning, poison, and psychic damage. He is vulnerable to fire. Remember that because it comes up later. Water and slashing damage. Slashing because if you do this, he's dead. Garthanax Prime is a fighter. Hence his 3-dimensional sword. Remember, it is 3-dimensional, not 2D like the rest of him. I feel like I'm teaching a class. However, that is Garthanax Prime. Whenever Garthanax dies, Garthanax can come back as Cleric Garthanax, Paladin Garthanax, Warlock Garthanax, Barbarian Garthanax, Bard Garthanax, Rogue Garthanax, Druid Garthanax, Sorcerer Garthanax, Wizard Garthanax, Monk Garthanax, Ranger Garthanax. His name is not Garthanax, it is Mark. However, it is just spelled Garthanax, and I will refer to him as such. I have a headache. Whenever Garthanax dies, Max will redraw Garthanax and he will respawn as one of these. On Sundays, Max is in church. Max doesn't like the church he goes to because he thinks it's boring, as any 6-year-old probably does. So, instead of being a cleric of some kind of god or whatever, like any fantasy high status, Garthanax's patron is in fact, Garthanax's god is in fact Max's Little League team. We'll get back to that later. Paladin Garthanax, it's just regular Garthanax, but with a 3-dimensional, again, all props are 3-dimensional helmet. Where's his head, you might ask? On the helmet. Garthanax spawns in with a prop depending on what he is. Fighter Garthanax has a sword, Cleric Garthanax has a baseball cap, so on and so forth. The only other prop that Garthanax has when he spawns in is a marker. Because, as you can see, all of the iterations of Garthanax are in fact faceless. The reason being, depending on the situation that Garthanax spawns into, Garthanax will then pull out his trusty marker and draw the face that he wants. So, when Paladin Garthanax spawns in, Garthanax just draws eyes on the Paladin helmet. We have Warlock Garthanax. Warlock Garthanax looks a lot like Slenderman. There's a reason for that! The reason being, Max. His name is Max. Max stayed up late one night when he should have been going to bed like a good boy. Fuck you, Max. You're not getting anything for Christmas. And he read creepypastas. One of those creepypastas was Slenderman. And, as any person who has ever played a Warlock knows, tentacles. Thus, Warlock Garthanax was born. Don't question me, I play Warlocks a lot. Tentacles.
Yes.
Barbarian Garthanax. The reason he has this mustache, you might be wondering why he has a mustache and not any muscles. The reason being, because Max went to a circus when Barbarian Garthanax was born. And if anyone's ever been to a circus, you know those strong men with the weird mustache and the thing, and they do like little tricks and shit. I don't know, I don't like circuses because I'm afraid of clowns. That's a story for another day. then there is... Then there is Bard Garthanax. Bard Garthanax has an accordion. Why an accordion, you might ask? Because accordions look funny and Max thought it would be a funny joke. Also, for this next segment, Max's dad is an archer, hunter, whatever you want to call it. And because of that, Max grew up around a lot of crossbows, bows, arrows, sword, and so forth. He thinks they're boring. Because of that, Rogue Garthanax does not have a crossbow. Rogue Garthanax has a fucking gun. And the reason that... and the gun comes with a silencer. It is the only gun in the D&D world, and it is 3-dimensional and fully functional. Whenever Garthanax needs new ammo, he just draws out a bullet and puts it in the clip. Then there is Druid Garthanax. Druid Garthanax is basically just a furry. I don't want to talk about him for too long, because fuck furries. Then there is Sorcerer Garthanax. Sorcerer Garthanax is obviously a sorcerer. The reason I say obviously is because he has cleats and a scarf. Do you need a better reason to be a sorcerer? Are you enjoying yourself? Then we have Wizard Garthanax. Wizard Garthanax dies a lot. Refer back to fire being a weakness. I told you it would come back up later. I told you. I'm pointing at each of the cameras in case one camera doesn't catch all the cameras. So, Wizard Garthanax's wand is a sparkler. You know the little sparklers that kids have at 4th of July things? Wizard Garthanax and any form of Garthanax is weak to fire. And obviously, if you give a creature with an intelligence of like 1, and who's probably got the mentality of a 6-year-old, something that could be a back scratcher, they'll scratch their back with it. Wizard Garthanax catches on fire quite frequently. Then there is my favorite iteration of Garthanax, Monk Garthanax. Monk Garthanax is once again 2-dimensional, but props are 3-dimensional. Monk Garthanax prop is a giant fist and a giant foot. Not just any fist or foot. It is in fact one of those sticky fling fists and stinky fling foots that you can get at like a little pinball machine. Only gigantic and painful to get hit by. Then we have Ranger Garthanax. Ranger Garthanax has a bow tie because fuck bows and fuck arrows. Ranger Garthanax also is a Beastmaster, which you're probably thinking to yourself, why a Beastmaster? That's a shitty D&D subclass. It's not for Garthanax, because Garthanax always spawns in with a weird faceless creature that looks something like this. However, Garthanax has his trusty marker, and with his trusty marker, Garthanax can do stuff like this, Garthanax can do stuff like this, Garthanax can do whatever he wants with his pet. Now, you're probably wondering to yourself, hey, if Max can do all of these creative things, why hasn't Max just given Garthanax wings? The reason for that is because Max doesn't like drawing bird wings. They're overcomplicated and really detailed and hard to draw. However, one time Max read a picture book featuring dragons, because every D&D kid loves dragons. And he was like, wow, that shit's cool as fuck, yo. And that's why Garthanax has wings now. Oh, it's also worth noting that Garthanax talks exclusively like a ancient Shakespearean villain. For example, you fool, I am undying. Another important piece of information, Garthanax is only ever partially alive. The reason I say partially alive is not because he's an avatar controlled by a 6-year-old, but because he is an avatar controlled by a 6-year-old's dream state. Garthanax only ever appears at night or when Max is taking a nap. Oh, you're right. So, if Max ever needs Garthanax to travel anywhere, the way Max does it is not by putting Garthanax on a boat, because that shit's for fucking nerds. Garthanax is the boat. I'm not done, just give me like a second. More important facts about Garthanax. Garthanax is color-coded. Fighter Garthanax is black and white. Ranger Garthanax is green. Monk Garthanax is... What did we say Monk Garthanax was? Kind of a flesh color because he punches shit? Wizard Garthanax is purple because wizards. Sorcerer Garthanax is a weird shade of blue. Druid Garthanax a shade of brown. Rogue Garthanax, we'll get back to Rogue Garthanax. Bard Garthanax is a shade of yellow. Barbarian Garthanax is specifically a shade of red that comes when you're really, really angry. Also, as I said, Cleric Garthanax appears on Sundays. Barbarian Garthanax appears every Monday during the school year, because what 6-year-old wants to go back to school? Nobody. Nobody wants to go back to school. Why the fuck would you ever want that? So, Barbarian Garthanax is a shade of red. Warlock Garthanax is a shade of Lovecraftian horror. Paladin Garthanax is a shade of yellow, and Cleric Garthanax is like 2 or 3 different colors. It really depends on what Team Max's Little League colors are. Now, back to Rogue Garthanax. As I said, Garthanax Prime, Fighter Garthanax, is black and white. That's important, because if you miscolor him, Garthanax gets angry. We'll get to Garthanax's gender later. Garthanax Prime is black and white. Garthanax the Rogue is white and black, and if you get it wrong, he does shoot you. Name, Garthanax. Race, Garthanax. Sex, Garthanax, what's in your pants? Garthanax pulls out his trusty marker, draws a zipper around his leg area, unzips it, and there is just a sensor blob. What is this sensor blob, you might ask? Because it's not a black bar or any kind of blurred effect. It is the Starry Night or Mona Lisa or some other variant of famous artwork. Was he ever used as a kite? You bet your fucking ass Garthanax was a kite at one point. Garthanax with his wings has a flying speed of 30 feet. Garthanax without his wings has a flying speed of 20 feet only, and only if there is a string attached to him and there is a strong breeze. How does Garthanax communicate, you might ask? He communicates the same as anyone else, you nitwit, with his face turning into emojis and speech bubbles.
Humor!
The speech bubbles, however, have their own voice. What is this voice, you ask? We haven't determined it, but considering the fact that I truly believe that Garthanax is the voice of God, I believe he sounds something like Morgan Freeman.
Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito. It alternates. Now, you're probably asking yourself, so, he's got shit stats, but he's basically immortal. How do you kill Garthanax? How do you kill evil Garthanax? It's simple and it is sad. The only way to kill Garthanax is to kill Max, which, if you kill a 6-year-old, I don't care what your reasoning are, you're a horrible human being. I genuinely don't care. Fuck you for killing a 6-year-old.
He was the Antichrist.
No. Second off, the only other way to kill it is to get Max to give up on his dreams. Because if Max doesn't make art anymore, there's no more Garthanax. If you can convince Max that he is a terrible artist and he has no future in art, Garthanax dies. Max is 6 right now, so Garthanax is a stick figure. However, as any good artist can tell you, the more you practice, the better you get. So, 20 years, so effectively, Garthanax has a functional lifespan of an average human being. He can die over and over, but he comes back until a human lifespan ends. And the reason being, Max is dead at that point. However, through the years, Max has gotten better at art, and therefore, Garthanax, through all of his iterations, through all of his respawns, gets progressively more and more detailed, until Garthanax hits level 20. What do you think happens at level 20, you might ask? At level 20, Garthanax does something that no other D&D character is ever capable of or dreamed of. Garthanax can come back as any subclass he wants. Garthanax is a fighter. He's an Eldritch Knight. You go into a cave with a dragon. Your cleric's not here this week. Oh no, whatever will you do? Garthanax is a cleric now. He's a Tempest cleric, level 20. You don't want a Tempest cleric? Tempest cleric doesn't work in this situation. He's a Forge cleric, y'all. Garthanax is an Infernal Pact warlock. You kill Garthanax, guess what? Garthanax is back, baby, only this time his patron is Cthulhu fucking himself. I don't make the rules, Max makes the rules, this is his universe and we're just playing in it.